Protesting has long been intertwined in American history. With the polarizing results of the recent election, there has been an uptick in protesting, especially violent ones.
I would say that as long as you're not breaking any laws and harming anyone in any illegal way, as far as libel, slander, and or physical, emotional harm to anyone else, that's the whole point.
Okay.
So as long as you stay within the time or the time constraints and the physical constraints of not harming anyone else, then it should be 100% allowed and encouraged to a certain extent.
After Donald Trump became the president-elect, violent protests broke out across America. There was even a protest in St. Paul where the protesters marched from the Capitol building all the way across Minneapolis to Highway 94 and University Avenue, speaking out against the elected president. As well, there was an increase in student-driven protests with the hashtag #NotMyPresident trending on Twitter, and an increase in students not standing for the pledge during school.
The reason why I don't stand for the pledge is because, as an African American person, I feel like I'm not in America. I'm not I'm put to a standard that I'm bad in school, or I'm going to do drugs, or I'm going to fight. And I think that we need to raise that standard, and that African American people aren't just bad, and we're not all thugs. And so I sit for the pledge because until people know that all lives matter, and especially Black ones at the moment.
Black Lives Matter, Free the Nipple, and other feminist movements, and even the environmentalist movement, are often considered violent. Many opposing these organizations believe that the socially progressive are trying to threaten them, so they oppose protests on the grounds of hate speech. The Public Religion Research Institute found that 67% of Americans believe that protesting against the government is beneficial to the nation, but this number dropped to 48% when asked about the Black Lives Matter movement. The media often portrays the protests as violent, considering the capitalist aspect in which they need interesting stories to make money.
It's the 24-hour media cycle that exists, whether it's tweeting or Facebooking or anything else. Has created an environment where there's so many outlets. If you don't like one outlet, you can go to something else. So based on that, people's political views determine which outlet they go to, therefore they get reinforced, maybe sometimes in a false manner, to believe that what they believe is actually true. So if you're liberal, you have outlets that you'll only watch. And if you're conservative, you have outlets that you only watch. Rarely does that conservative or liberal person, seemingly, rarely do they watch and interact with the opposite outlets to really get a perspective. Because there's always that opposite perspective.
It can be good or bad, because on the good side it can help the protesters to spread their message and organize and coordinate, but it can also be a way for false information to spread. So for example, portraying a protest as violent when it really isn't, which I've seen on the internet all the time, saying that it's a violent protest when it's really just a peaceful protest.
I believe that if there's a cause that needs to be brought to awareness and people need to know about it, I think that protesting is probably the most peaceful way. I mean, you can make it the most peaceful way possible, and I think that through protesting, people are made aware, and I guess that's the goal.
I think there needs to be a better understanding that civil disobedience is part of the American process, and it brings issues to the surface that are sometimes hard to deal with. But the reality of it is that most of America needs to understand that they're there. Now, that's obviously with the race issues, but protest with labor unions has been going on for a long, long time. So it's just part of who we are. And again, all the way back to our revolution, it was there from the beginning with the Daughters and Sons of Liberty. So it is truly fundamental to our to our republic.
Okay, I think that certain people in a group are violent protesters, and I feel like people right away like say that all protesting is bad because a certain group of people is, and I feel like only those few people are going out of the whole are going to be violent protesters. So I think that overall protesting is good, but just a few bad people make the name iffy.
If you feel comfortable and safe doing it, then it's a good idea and a good way to stand up for what you believe in, like represent your community and the people that have the same beliefs.